Yo!
Welcome back, everyone. This is part 3 of the King's Castle NFL Draft Show. King James along with Blair Chopin.
What's up?
Blair, one team that we really haven't talked about this evening yet is Green Bay.
The Green Bay Packers.
So, who do you think is a favorite on their side?
I've heard a lot about them liking their pick 27th, and I've heard a lot about them liking Reggie Ragland from an inside linebacker from Alabama.
Right.
I think that'd be a really good pick for him. Ragland's a really physical player, really hard hitting, really has value as a pass rusher, gets a lot of sacks. He'd be a really great help for his defense, and I really think that's a great value pick at 27. I think he's a guy who should be going in the top 15, but he ran a slow 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine, so it's kind of made him fall back a bit. I really like that pick for them at 27.
But you think his performance at the Combine may cause a weak spot?
No, I don't really think so. I mean, I think we get too caught up in the Combine sometimes.
Well,
I mean, honestly, like sometimes it's just if you can play, because to be honest with you, Kelvin Benjamin, the Panthers' star wide receiver who will be coming back this year. He fell to the Panthers 2 years ago in the draft because he had a slow 40 time at the Combine. And he ended up having a Rookie of the Year quality season.
By the way, we should mention for the benefit of our viewers that for those of you that don't know, Combines are those camps where the agents go out and they scout new talent for the rosters.
That wasn't too bad.
From between college and high school. So
they don't scout high schoolers, James. You can't go to the NFL out of high school.
Well, I'm aware of that. I was just saying that it's not common to see combines in high school or college.
Yeah, they do. They have combines. They have a lot of combines, and that's where all the colleges go to recruit the high schoolers.
Right.
This is where all the college kids go to get drafted by the NFL.
Right. But, so you say a lot of the agents get caught up in the combine. But I gotta ask you, from a coach's perspective, wouldn't you do the same thing? Because I'll tell you something. If it were me, I'd be focusing everything on that combine, especially.
I don't think you can focus everything on it. I mean, there's so many tests that go into the combine, and maybe a guy's not as fast, but maybe he's smarter, and maybe he knows the right places to be, and maybe there's a real fast guy who doesn't have a clue about the place in the playbook.
You're talking about as far as gameplay,
right?
Okay.
So I think you have to base some of it on the combine. Like if you have a kid who you've never seen play before, and he goes there and he runs a ridiculously fast 40 time, yeah, you might want to draft him. You might want to take that into consideration. But if you've seen a guy play like Ragland for like 3 or 4 years, and he's been great the entire time, then go based on that. Like, he runs a slower 40 time, but even though he runs a slower 40 time, he's still a great pass rusher, which requires elite speed. See, a lot of people, there's a difference. The funny thing about the emphasis on the 40-yard dash is there's a difference between running fast without any pads on and barely any clothes on. You know?
Right.
What you do in the 40-yard dash.
Right.
And Ragland, yeah, he's not as fast without the pads on, but he's with those pads on, he's got elite speed, which a lot of players don't have. There's combine superstars who don't do anything in the NFL.
Something to think about.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, here's another question, though. We talked about...
I like Reggie. I hope he falls to the Panthers. That would be great. He'd be a great addition.
Well, we've talked about who a lot of the favorites are for all of the teams. Now I've got to focus on another rival, Seattle. Who do you see being a favorite on their end?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle. The basis of Seattle's, not really. You don't want to say their struggles because they've been so good for so long with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, but a lot of times, their offense is kind of based on, just improv by Russell Wilson because he's getting so much pressure that he has to scramble out of the pocket and he has to do things on the fly. So I really think they want to tighten up their offensive line. And they're looking at drafting a guard here from Texas A&M, according to what I have up now. But I really think if for some reason, if they felt the need to, they could trade up for a guy like Ronnie Stanley, and in the top half of the first round, offensive tackle for Notre Dame. I really just think they're gonna take someone for the offensive line, which is the right thing for them to do.
Well, that brings to mind another question. As I mentioned, Seattle has always been a rival of the Panthers as far as our season because we're pretty much even. Should we be concerned about them overall?
Yeah, I think
as far as a seasonal performance.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're always going to be a really good football team with those guys there, and the secondary they have with Chancellor and Sherman and those guys. They regressed a little bit last year, but they were still very good. Russell Wilson took his play to a different level in the second half of the season. I think the important thing that this is going to come down to, I think the Panthers and the Seahawks are both going to be towards the top seeds in the NFC. I think if you're the Panthers, or if you're the Panthers, you want to finish with a better record than the Seahawks because you don't want to go in Seattle and play a playoff game with that atmosphere.
Exactly. It'd be just like a rerun of last season because that's exactly what we wanted to do and we did.
Right. We got them at home. And when you get them at home, you can beat them. They're a whole different team.
Right.
But we got them at home in part because we beat them on the road in Week 5 of the regular season. Kind of a miraculous win.
Which to a lot of people, including myself, was a shock.
Right, it was to me too. I really think that is one of the more important games in the history of the Panthers.
I
really think
you're exactly right.
We were 4-0 then, but we hadn't played the strongest competition. I think if we lose that game, it hurts our confidence. Maybe we finish 8-8 or 9-7. But that kind of validated us, and it made our guys confident. Like, we have arrived. We finally fought off our demons here.
Took us 13 years, but we got there.
You think about it. Every one of the historically great athletes has a hump he has to get over. Jordan had to get over the Pistons. Magic had to get over Larry Bird and the Celtics.
Right. Newton had to get over the Seahawks. Maybe now he has to get over Denver. We'll see. Well, LeBron had to get over the Celtics. Only time will tell. Now, a team that we're not really that concerned about because they're not in our division, but a team that everybody kind of had their eye on for the past couple years, the Jaguars. They were pretty weak a couple of years ago. Only won 2 games, but last season they were kind of on average. What do you think about them?
I don't usually have a lot of thoughts about the Jaguars. They definitely showed signs of improvement last year. I think a lot of people thought Blake Bortles might be a disaster at quarterback, and he started playing relatively well. And they've got a lot of good young players on defense. I think their defense was fine. I think they're going to look towards one of the 2 defense ends that are rumored in the top 5, whether it be Joey Bosa or your boy DeForest Buckner from Oregon. DeForest is a good.
There go the Ducks! Quack quack.
There they go. I love DeForest. I think he might. If it wasn't for the quarterbacks, that guy's going number 1. But yeah, I think they're going to try to shore up their defense. And, it's really there's a window of opportunity for everyone in that division now. Because for the longest time, it was the Colts who controlled the AFC South. Now we're not so sure if the Colts, what's Andrew Luck's injuries, what's that situation looking like? Their roster overall is pretty weak.
Right.
Houston's got a chance with Brock Osweiler there now. And a J.J. Watt on defense. They've got to look like a pretty solid team. Tennessee with Marcus Mariota. Are they going to improve?
Yeah.
Jacksonville, can they take a step forward? It's really anyone's game in that division, so that's going to be really interesting to watch.
So you think that's more of a level playing field?
Yeah, the most level it's been in a really long time.
Well, this is certainly shaping up to be a very interesting season. And again, best of luck to all the teams and the owners. And it'll be interesting to watch. But I'll tell you what, when we come back, we're going to give you a little preview. We're going to wrap it up and give you a little preview of what's to come next on the King's Castle for our next show. So stay tuned.
Good job, James.